It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Anabongong alongside Makabiso Ngambule. Thank you so much indeed for choosing to stay with us. We are coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Mbabane, and your top stories at 8. The Deputy Prime Minister has implored for the end of unintended pregnancies amongst the youth, which results to grandparents raising their grandchildren. The Minister of Education has announced the dates of writing external examinations for the year 2022. The Minister for Agriculture says the funds under the government's farm input subsidy program for the financial year have been completed. And now the news in detail. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has implored for the end of unintended pregnancies amongst the youth, which results to grandparents raising their grandchildren. Masuku says this growing habit has adverse effects on the grandparents as well as the upbringing of the children.
Lensha ihambe emafemini ifike ibhake ngathi kubhakwa tina bhaka thatha tobeka la ekhaya abuyele emva ayobhaka lo aphinza abuyise la ekhaya angashina nala kushiyako uyamangala ngoba phela live linetindlela tekuhlela imindeni kunabo family life association etibhedlela akukhokhelwa nalokuhlela yindlo lekhona lesemthethweni lengumgomo kahulumende lekufanele ukuthi emaswati alinake lelive ngoba.
Researchers have found that grandparents face a number of challenges that contribute to serious mental and physical health results. The commonly reported stressors include poverty, inadequate housing, and conflict with the grandchildren's biological parents over the nature and extent of their involvement with their grandchildren. Sifiso Ngumalo for Eswatini TV News in Mbabane.
In a bid to ensure that Eswatini receives the quality health services, the Minister for Health, Nkosi, says the government is looking to employ 11 doctors. Nkosi says government trains doctors for private and public facilities. The Minister was speaking about the state of doctors in Eswatini.
The government of Eswatini, through the Ministry of Health, continues to improve the sector to allow Emaswati to access quality health services. The Minister for Health, Nkosi, says as much as the hiring exercise of doctors is slow, government identified 11 doctors that will soon be employed.
Kubodokotela laba general loku qasha kuslow kukhona lesanza kuba appointed labang 11 but appointed labang 11 nje lise le line.
The minister says currently there aren't enough specialists. Minister says in the market pool there are not enough super specialists as well. Nkosi says there are a lot of requirements for the specialities.
Now my specialist lamanengana but lalo khanza ukuthi umuntu oncologist ngiyabekisa. Bese soba pediatric oncologist lapha icancer kodwa uspecialize cancer ebantwana lokufunza kwakhe kuyahlukana soba lo myuba specialist soba super specialist lama specialists side vele nje angibeke kanjalo mancane kakhulu mancane askas wona la emarket.
Among the other efforts of the government of Eswatini has been the installment of a system that allows the central medical stores to store drugs appropriately. For Eswatini TV News Ndomlangeni, Mbonga Dube, Mbabane.
In March 2022, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security launched the National Skills Audit Report, which provided a comprehensive analysis of skills and skills development in Eswatini. The report shared information on gaps and opportunities for human resource development in the country, highlighting new developments and considerations for the policy. Visit www.gov.sz to view the report. The report further recommended the development of a national human resource development policy to align national strategies and development priorities with relevant human capital investments. Therefore, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, under the Human Resource Planning and Development Unit, is inviting all stakeholders to participate in the review of the National Human Resource Development Policy. The policy will provide a yardstick for the systematic progression and transformation of Eswatini's human resource to effectively support economic growth and social development. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security, in collaboration with ESAPAC, is in a process of gathering views and contributions aimed towards modelling skills development in Eswatini. As a valuable stakeholder of the ministry, you are invited to submit your comments and contributions through ESAPAC's website, www.sapac.co.sz, www.sapac.co.sz, and all social media platforms, or participate in the physical policy consultations on a date and venue to be announced in due course. Your comments will help to develop a framework that will provide the guiding principles and guidelines for skills development in the country. The policy under review will also be shared with stakeholders through ESAPAC's websites, www.sapac.co.sz, www.sapac.co.sz, and knowledge@sapac.co.sz. The announcement is by the Minister of Labour and Social Security, the Honourable Pilar Telezi. The Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard, has announced the dates for writing of external examinations across the various schools in the country for the year 2022.
Only 88 days are remaining for the current year to come to an end. This means that very soon students will be sitting down for their exams. On this regard, the Minister of Education, Lady Howard, has announced dates for writing exams. The Minister has made this announcement at the Cabinet offices in Mbabane.
The dates of commencement for written external examinations are as follows. Grade 7, EPTC, 5th December 2022. Form 3, JC, 28th November 2022. Form 5, EGCSE, 14th November 2022. IGCSE, 4th October 2022. Other class level examinations will differ across schools depending on the timetables the schools have developed.
In the past 2 years, the curriculum in schools was completed in a shorter period of time. The minister says she hopes that the situation will return to normal in the following year. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Thando Mdluli with Muzim Konda, Mbabane.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, urges national stakeholders and those from locally who have convened for a dialogue on vulnerable farmers' access to fertilizers at Hilton Garden Inn in Mbabane to ensure they find lasting interventions to the shortage of fertilizers, especially for smallholder farmers. The Minister was speaking during the official opening of the 3-day workshop.
Different conditions, including climate change, have led to the shortage of fertilizers in the Southern Africa region. To avert this, different stakeholders from the region, including Eswatini, have met to find solutions in a meeting officially opened by the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza.
Do keep the smallholder farmer as the priority and come up with solutions that are practical and affordable for the smallholder farmers. It is not about us. It is not about our positions, but it is about a farmer. I take it that this dialogue must prioritize the issue of smallholder farmers.
Louis, the resilient team leader for the Food and Agricultural Organization, says such solutions will contribute to food sustainability.
That's why we brought people who are also having different ideas on how best can we make use of the little fertilizers that we have to be more efficient. Conservation agriculture is one of those approaches, and we've got stakeholders on the conservation agriculture arena who are going to be trying to share with others what are the best ways to address the fertilizer shortage with conservation agriculture.
Sibusiso Dlamini, the director of the Center for Coordination of Agricultural Research and Development for Southern Africa, says smallholder farmers need support.
We meet stakeholders, we build alliances and with a common vision to mitigate the negative impacts of the emerging agricultural risks.
The minister says government has supported farmers over the years under the Farm Input Subsidy Program. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ndangamandla with Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has announced that funds under the government's farm input subsidy program for this financial year have been depleted. The minister says this has been caused by the changing agricultural inputs landscape.
The changing agricultural landscape of farm inputs has led to increased prices. This, according to the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has resulted in the fast depletion of funds under the government farm input subsidy program. The minister says government has supported farmers as the money under the program had been increased to 142 million emalangeni this year from about 30 million emalangeni last year.
Atiqolisele aphinze abaqolisele futhi nalabo labathunywe lo msebenzi mangabe sekwendeka ufika ungumlimi uthi uyawubhadara bakutshela ukuthi imali ayisekho seyiphelile kude vele nabo labangakwenda mhlawumbe lokungenda ukuthi ugcine usitakele siyadi ke nalokuthi banenge balimi labangakakhona ukusitakala kulolu hlelo ngenxa yalokuthi le mali ayisi-enough njengoba besingafisa futhi lokho akusithokozisi asijabuli njengako akusiphathi nakahle ngoba thina ngekufisa kwethu ngabe wonke nje umlimi wonke umuntu lofuna kulima uyakhona kusitakala unyakeni lophelile uhulumende bekasibambise nga 30 million or 32 million wema input subsidy kwase kuthi etigulumbeni wasibambisa nga 10 million kepha ke lo nyaka live lahlala phansi labuka simo lesibhekene naso lesikhuni kakhulu kade kubalimi ngoba lama price akhuphuke kakhulu eminyakeni lophelile nje i-contribution kwakubo 3.5 but ke lo nyaka bakhanzakala sinaku kwendiwa i-average ehectare lama cost asho ukuthi li-hectare linye sokuthi lima nga 14,000 therefore uhulumende ke wasokuthi cha lo nyaka sidanibambisa nga 142 million kule input subsidy program bese kuba ke 10 million etigulumbeni which is 152 million.
The minister has urged farmers to pay for the program early next year. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla with Mbongwa Dube Mbabane.
The Eswatini National Archive says it has removed technicians suspected to have sabotaged the electronic development and record management system. The technicians are suspected to have tampered with the software system, which resulted in it being dysfunctional from the year 2019 to the year 2022. This has been said when the Ministry of ICT appeared before the Public Accounts Committee today.
In 2011, government initiated the Electronic Documents and Records Management System project. This came at a cost of over 58 million emalangeni and it was expected to be completed in 5 years. However, it has still not been, with just over 26 million emalangeni pumped in. Eswatini National Archives Director Ngoba Msibi explains.
One of the developers lobeka sitangale kuma-Taiwanese athi mos masichecka lana kuyabonakala ukuthi there are some changes la kendiwe kulama strings ku-back end lokusho ukuthi kunetinkinga le system ngeke vele ibuyise i-response lekahle uma ngabe uthola ukuthi kukhona lokushintshile ma-systems anale nkinga ukuthi you change a small thing, even a dot ya-malfunction, you see. Members
of the Public Accounts Committee posed questions.
Is now full secured because this is a government issue, and the Msebendi Ibama Tongitin government. So if Koronomi Tongena, I change the computer is how safe is it and how secure is the system now?
Ngekubuka kwa controlling officer yayikhona yini lenye system le lama technician bekayi prefer better than lena labayifaka kubona nekwekuthi ke ngikuphi bona labe bayi benchmark ekhona le system.
The department responded.
As system administrator, the super system administrators of the project ngibasusile ngiyathi kungenzeka kube kuma projects akamele kube kanjalo ngibasusile until we know exactly what happened and ukuthi mase engagana na RSTP.
The Eswatini National Archive said it was now working with the Royal Science and Technology Park to ensure that the project is up and running by 2026. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Parliament.
The Parliament of Eswatini has met with editors from different media houses in the country to discuss Parliament's 5-year strategic plan.
Following the announcement of Parliament's 5-year strategic plan by the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini in June this year, Parliament is currently engaging with its different stakeholders. One of the objectives of this initiative is bringing Parliament to the people. The Clerk to Parliament, Benedict Klaba, says the strategic plan has a pillar of service delivery, which will help journalists in tracking the effectiveness of Parliament.
We have an initiative that we are starting, which is taking Parliament to the people, and we shall be using various aspects. For example, it could be social media, using all the channels that members of Parliament, they continue interacting with the public. For example, when you come with a motion in Parliament, you see that motion should be built from the chieftains upward to Ingundla level. So there must be those clear structures. So then with this service, even a bill when it is being piloted, so there must be engagement with the public, that the people can say they want this and they want this from that bill, even be a motion.
The chairperson of the Editors Forum, Bongeni Mbingo, has stated the challenges faced by media houses when reporting Parliament stories.
Access to Parliament, access ngamabom, but ke ngiloko kusebenzisana nabo ekuthenini kunani namuhla kuyini lokutawendeka namhla kufanele kuhambe kanjani. Lokumikisa umuntu bese so uyabuya nayo bhala lokulakuvele namuhla akusiyo ifunction lefuna ngabe emedia isebenta ngayo, kufuna ngabe mhlawumbe si developer ema skills ema reporters ukuthi abe based eParliament, so kutoba ne continuity.
Mbingo has also mentioned that Parliament is the heartbeat of the nation. Thus, it is important for their populace to be familiar with the issues discussed by their members of Parliament. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Thando Kuhlemdluli with Themba Shabangu, Ezulwini.
The Public Accounts Committee has given the Ministry of ICT 3 months to resolve the issue of the Royal Science and Technology Park CEO's contract, which expired about a year ago. Despite the contract having expired, the CEO is still in office. The committee also wants to know what RSTP is doing to minimize its heavy reliance on government's finances.
The Royal Science and Technology Park says the issue of its Chief Executive Officer's expired contract is waiting for cabinet approval as the board has done its part. The parastatal has also shared its turnaround strategy to minimize heavy reliance on government finances.
Seeing RSTP, what we have done now, firstly, we are engaged in a harmonizing process whereby una GCS na RSTP sitsinyalo system charger hulumende service asitawutfola lokuncane njengoba nemagesi amcharge hulumende electricity. So lokho kutawenda ukuthi sibe kube khona lokuncane lesikuthola angezicharge hulumende kuphela, kunetinkampani letingephandle lesitabe sithi service lese sithi identifyile nakhona sitamthola zukana sikhone kuphila.
Members of the Public Accounts Committee had questions.
Usebenda sonke lesikhathi akatati ukuthi ume the whole year. Akati noma ngisi yini noma vele lapha nje che lama benefits akasiwo asiwo.
Mane akunama time frame. Siliphupho lihle liphupho sihlalo siyala appreciate sakubona. But nje akunasikhathi akasinike ukuthi sibhekele kusikhumbe ngalomnyaka lo nje sibe sesiku stage 1 stage 2 wethu stage 3 wethu sesiqala lapho sesiya harvest ngiyabhekisa
kuvakala ungazuthi kudele lo move ukuthi akuphangiswe mhlawumbe kangisho kanjalo sihlalo now baba soyabuka litawusinal liyashona bonakala usase kudeke longayisebenzisa lento kenyalo kungikhani ngesithi elitiko lisekuqedile lo msebenzi.
RSTP CEO Vumile Dlamini had responses.
kufuneka ukuthi yakhiwa le infrastructure yakhiwe ihambe parallel ungayakhi nje iyodwa. We try ke singuhulumende ngathi nakhona nje ngathi indawo kumla abahlonishwa nani phasisele loan ye-Exim Bank nyalo nje ngikhani kwakhiwa le secondary side le disaster recovery. Most of lama businesses angeke akunike le business kude i-fail over side. Right now i-timeline yethu yekuthi immediately icetha le disaster recovery. That is where we stawubona lama volumes ama client asabamanyeni.
The committee encouraged RSTP to find income generation methods so to be self-sustainable. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Muzim Konda, Parliament.
The Auditor General's report for the year ended 31 March 2021 states that there are long outstanding trade and other receivables amounting to over 85 million malangeni owed to the Eswatini Post and Telecommunications Corporation. This happens at a time where the corporation is in a financial trouble. The PAC says the company should do more to recover this money.
The Eswatini Post and Telecommunications Corporation told the PAC about long outstanding trade and other receivables due to it. These have escalated to over 85 million emalangeni. An audit query in the Auditor General's report states that the corporation continued to allow customers to use its services despite them owing. EPTC Chief Finance Officer Muzi Dlamini explains.
We are engaging them. I think Kulama Annexures Chair ikona the correspondence from some of them kusho ukuthi siyaba engage and what they have requested kubhadala. Some of them chair vele baya bhadala but bangama slow payers. They don't pay as quickly as we would like them to pay, but by bhadala bhadala kone double chair. The Swazi Mobile one checking ngathi ngimnako sine acknowledgement of debt with them, and then we have recently renegotiated the acknowledgement of debt. Let's see within the next 24 months, but up to date, but so there's a schedule of how much they pay every month to ensure plus the current, so that
the Auditor General noted a concern about written-off assets valued at over 145 million emalangeni, which have not been disposed by EPTC. He stated that his concern was that these assets may be misplaced or stolen. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Muzim Konda, Parliament.
Right now, let's take a look at our financial indicators and see how markets perform today in our financial report.
It can be.
Welcome back. You're still with the News Bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. Thank you so much indeed for choosing to stay with us. We shall now take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports. The Eswatini Commonwealth Olympics and Commonwealth Association Chief Executive Officer Maxwell Chele says the Olympic movement has started ways of taking part of the Winter Games, which are winter games for countries with snow or facilities appropriate for the games. Chele says the collaboration with the Kingdom of Lesotho as a country with facilities for the games will greatly benefit Eswatini in achieving the goal for attending the games. Chele mentioned this after the Olympics movement visited the Kingdom of Lesotho last week to look at ways on how Eswatini can also join the games.
In one way of developing sports in the country, Eswatini Olympic and Commonwealth Games Association has begun the process of looking at taking part of winter games, which are games mostly for countries with snow, but are also joined by different countries with a facility that is specified for winter games. The Kingdom of Lesotho, as one regional country with a facility, has agreed to assist the Kingdom of Eswatini and also getting access on the same facility. Eswatini Olympic and Commonwealth Games Association Chief Executive Officer Maxwell Chele says if all goes accordingly, the country should begin preparations for the games next year during the winter period. Chele says in as much as the country does not have facilities and qualified officials for the games, they will get assistance from Lesotho to be part of the games.
Akusiwo lama games leswatayele la fire cards bo tennis nebhola nako konke lokunye kodwa nje ma sports lokhanza ukuthi vele adlalwa kuso snow lokufaka ekhathi bo ice hockey lokufaka ekhathi nayo imarathon nawo noma bo racing but kuyo ice ring.
With the 2024 Olympic Winter Youth Games to be staged in Tokyo, Japan, Eswatini could make first appearance in these games. For Eswatini TV Sports, Hobisum Sunera, pictures sourced from the Olympic movement Eswatini.
With those sports news, we've hit the home stretch of the News Bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick recap of our news making headlines tonight.
The Deputy Prime Minister has implored for the end of unintended pregnancies amongst the youth, which results to grandparents raising their grandchildren. The Minister of Education has announced the dates of writing external examinations for the year 2022. The Minister for Agriculture says the funds under the government's farm input subsidy program for the financial year have been depleted.
Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, we have come to the conclusion of our news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much indeed for choosing to stay with us. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the crew here at Eswatini TV. For now, it's good night and God bless.
At Spar, we've checked every price, counted every coin, and cut every cost to bring you Spar's Super Saver Week. Get even more for your money, like Bakoma Wheat Bix for only $26.99 and Norok Stock Cubes 24s for just $17.99. It's Super Saver Week at Spar, 3 to 9 October only. Don't miss out. Exclusive to Spar Rewards customers.
Get to know the players behind the name.
No, it's crazy, especially the journey that I've been on.
With an informal sit-down with some of the biggest stars in the game.
Probably one of the best games I've played.
Delve deeper into the lives of a Premier League footballer and get a personal account of what it takes to succeed at the highest level.
To see a game by game and then go from there.
In the big interview, every Thursday on the one broadcaster that brings you football's greatest season. Proudly brought to you by BetKing. That feeling, that's BetKing.